Welcome to the Lighthouse streaming event. We're trying something new here. We're trying to reach our clients because a lot of them are either homebound or, we can't see our clients face to face right now in this COVID crisis. So today, our beautiful, wonderful instructors here at the Lighthouse are going to be discussing cooking techniques, some basic cooking techniques, some marking skills in the kitchen, and some other activities of daily living and adjustment to vision loss activities. Normally, these activities are discussed in our course. So today you kind of get a peek into what that might be. If you are on the phone, just remember to, and if you have a sudden question, you can type *9, and that will raise your hand to me. And when you raise your hand, that means that you have something pressing to say, or that, at the next pause, we'll let you say what you wanted to say. So far, these have been kind of a discussion. These have been a presentation at the beginning and a discussion at the end. So, get your questions ready or comments or share suggestions at that time. We love to hear from you guys. And just a little note, upcoming tomorrow, we are discussing some mobility themes, including transportation, as well as white cane and human guide techniques. And then Friday, we're doing stress management, coping skills, and we are doing chair yoga, followed by a support group. So the support group is going to be made up of all clients, and it will follow immediately the stress management and coping skills and chair yoga event. All of our events are at 1 p.m. So whatever you use to call in here, you can just use that information again. The same phone number and the same access code and the same link for tomorrow's event. So that's all I have to say. Thank you for supporting the Lighthouse. Just as much support as we are sending to you, I hope you're sending to us. We appreciate your time. So I'm going to hand it off to Kathy. Kathy, what's going on?
We are in the kitchen. We are learning marking. And the first thing I want to show you, and this is a very abbreviated marking system for your stovetop. If you've got an electric stove or a cooktop, you've got your buttons in the back. If you see that there's a dark Velcro piece underneath the button for the front burner, I don't have to overmark the stove. I just have to keep it simple. So the little Velcro mark is underneath the knob for the front burner. So when I turn it on, I know that's the front burner's on, and I will feel the heat rising from that burner. And the way you can tell your burners are on and operating is if you hold your hand about 6 inches to a foot above the burner, probably the higher the better, you'll feel the heat rise. And then you'll know that burner is on. And if you keep your hand over the heat, you'll have a target to center your pot or pan on the burner. And you can keep your hand there for half a minute, and as the pan warms up, you'll feel it's hot and you're good.
Kathy's still got cut out, but I think we understood that marking the stove with a little Velcro dot can be very helpful because you can turn the knob to the correct spot, as well as making sure that that you turn the correct burner on by hovering your hand over the hot plate. This is for electric stoves specifically, of course. I feel like gas stoves, you'd know immediately.
So just a brief little recap as well, that we are going to have additional classes. We will go more into stovetop safety as we go along. But whatever you're doing, don't wear loose flowy sleeves, whether it's stovetop or some other items. You wouldn't want to get hung up on a knife or the skillet. You should have a fire extinguisher in your kitchen. It should not be under your kitchen sink. It should be the door that you're exiting. So if you need to exit, you can just go, or if you think it's safe to try to put the fire out, stop there and aim for the base of the fire and then call your fire department. But if you think it's too big, just run for it and call 911. So we're going to talk about pouring, and we're going to get started with this. And as I mentioned before, I am visually impaired as well. My name is Melissa, and I'm an instructor here at the Lighthouse. So these techniques I use as well. And going back to yesterday, if you were with us, or if not, we'll go over it again today. A lot of carryover into many aspects of vision loss. I have the lunch tray here, not too big in size. It's a bright color. If you have some color vision left, you can see that. But the point is to keep this on the tray. If I do spill, the spill would occur in the tray and it would be easier to clean up and not all over the floor. I have two different coffee mugs here, dark and light. So depending on what your beverage is, if you do have some sight, the contrast of perhaps milk in the darker cup and then coffee in the lighter cup would be of benefit to you. So that you can feel when the liquid hits your finger. But certainly if you're going to serve somebody else, they may not, especially now, appreciate your finger in their beverage. And if it's hot coffee, you may not want that pouring onto your finger either. So what we're going to do, oh, I had a wet finger and I touched this liquid level indicator, which, where would I hold this, Terry, to get close? It's a little 9-volt battery that has prongs. So when the prongs go into a liquid, it will conduct it to make a noise. And we're going to hang the prongs on the inside of the cup. That's where our liquid is going to go, and keep your battery on the outside. And then I have a measuring cup of water that I am going to also use my finger. There's a little bit of a lip on the measuring cup, and I'm going to guide with my finger to the edge of the cup and start pouring. And if I go too far, wait for it. Okay, that told me that we've reached the level that we need. This will leave a little room for some cream and sugar if you're not a straight black coffee drinker. So these little things can be a great help for hot liquids. You can use them for other things as well. And keep your friends safe by not sticking your finger in their beverages. The other thing I want to demonstrate, I move things so we can be closer to the laptop here, is I have these flexible, they're silicone funnels. This is the smaller one, and it squishes, so you can put it in the drawer. It nestles right inside the big one. And I like these better than some of the hard funnels because the storage is a little nicer. These are great if you want to use this. You've got a refillable water bottle. Put this on top and you've got a better chance of getting your liquid in that thermos than you did just pouring straight. I'm going to go ahead and just put one over the coffee mug and just show you, you know, you might be making some soup ahead of time and putting it in the freezer and have a container. This funnel will help you get it directed right into the container. So I kind of like these, and I like the storage on these as well. The other thing I want to show is my water bottle. And a lot of times these clear plastic bottles, anything clear, glass or whatever, they just disappear. How do you see them? If you have some usable sight, definitely putting on one of these free giveaway little cozies on the water bottle gives you a little bit of contrast so you can see it. Otherwise, if you don't have the usable vision to find it, what you might want to do is put your hand on the table or counter and bring it forward to the right, to the left, and do a systematic search where you're feeling low for this water bottle or glass. So that way you're not tipping it over by going high, you're going low and feeling forward to find it. And that would apply to a water bottle, a glass, whatever you might have. You might want to go with something with a little bit of color to it. If you do see contrast, that might be helpful. I know at my house, I have some red shorty cups that aren't as tall, so they won't knock over as easily. So it's up to you what you would like to do to accommodate and make it a little bit easier for yourself. And I know Peepers is closed right now, but Maxi Aids and Amazon, you could order these liquid level indicators, and it comes with the 9-volt battery in it, and you would be good to go. So that is a very, very brief introduction to pouring. And if you have any questions at the end, we can do that. Let me get this right over here. I want to keep this separate, so we don't want to activate our liquid level indicator. So the next thing is not starting right here. What happened is we talked about doing an intro to some food basics. So what that entailed is coming up with something that would be easy to fix. We wanted to demonstrate peeling, chopping, etc. So the first step was to come up with what we were going to fix, therefore some ingredients, checking our pantry, which would be pantry, refrigerator, what we had on hand, and what we would need to put on a list for the grocery store. So that's something that you would be doing on a regular basis. If you want a recipe, check your cupboard, see if you need what ingredients you need to pick up to be able to do that and have your shopping list put together. And speaking of shopping, it was definitely some bare shelves when I went to the store last night to pick up some of these items. They had people sanitizing the carts. They were all wearing gloves. Not that many people shopping, and it was about, I'm going to say 4:30, 5 o'clock. So it was good to go in and just kind of get a feel for everything. And but you might be using one of the shopping services. And so let's talk about that. If you are staying at home and you're not going out, I know I used a program called Shipt, S-H-I-P-T. Randy, one of our coworkers, he uses Instacart. They're both very similar on grocery delivery service. They go to Target, Publix, various places. But they are letting people know at this point, yes, they're still delivering, but you may need to be ordering a few days ahead to secure a delivery time for what you're wanting. So some of these services are very overwhelmed. Some of their drivers are not all on staff right now. So be mindful of that. If you want something tonight, you may not get it for a couple of days. So see what kind of service you're using, and if you might need to try something else, go to one of the early shopping sessions. A lot of the stores are open from 7 to 8 a.m. and it's 60 and older. Or if you have any kind of a disability, you can get in early and shop just after the store has been disinfected and the crowds have not been in there. So check and see that way, but don't wait until the last minute if you need something. Just look ahead a little bit. And based on that, then we've got our recipe, we checked our pantry, we picked up our groceries, and here we are. So the first thing you're going to want to do is get organized. And so as we move into this, are you moving my water?
Yes, I am.
Oh, she's terrible.
I was getting it out of the spring, sorry.
So two things that you need to organize. You want to have all of your ingredients on hand, but you want to have your tools on hand as well. So I do some organizing again with the orange trays. I'm not going to pull everything off yet because we're going to talk about these. So I knew that I wanted an egg slicer, which works on many things, some peelers, an onion holder. Then I've got ingredients such as lettuce. We've got strawberries. We've got a couple of boiled eggs. This was interesting. We're going to make a Greek salad. And I wanted to put a couple hard-boiled eggs in there, and they had no eggs. But they did have little packages of hard-boiled eggs. So I figured, why not? Let's give these a try. We have to be flexible. So I thought that was kind of fun. Got a carrot over here. We're going to work on that. Some onion. Bought a rotisserie chicken. So we've got a little shredded chicken here. Got a cucumber. What I do want you to know is all of the produce, whether strawberries, lettuce, carrots, everything has been washed. So I do think it's a good idea to wash your produce before you peel it. What's the point of you know, when you peel a carrot, if you don't wash it beforehand, you're just kind of contaminating that bottom layer. So get it all washed. Let's be safe. And I want to talk a little bit first about knives. As I am working here, I've got a cutting mat. I chose the yellow. It's nice and bright. It's going to give me some contrast against some of the things that I'm using. You can get white and black cutting boards, which is white on one side, black on the other, and that can give you some good contrast, whether you're chopping an onion or going to something else like a carrot that you want a little more visibility on the flip side. So those are some good choices. Some people might be a little nervous about using some sharp knives again. Definitely with proper technique. I think that you can work on that and practice safely, and we have some aids that can help you. But if you're still a little uncomfortable, there are some products out there on Amazon. They're called nylon knives. There's another one called Curious Chef, and they are nylon. You can get some with color or get the white ones. Some are a little heavier than others. The blade's a little different, but the idea is that these don't cut skin. I wouldn't recommend doing this at home with a regular knife, but with a nylon knife, it's designed to not cut skin. The other thing that it doesn't do is it doesn't oxidize lettuce if you're cutting it. So that's a good thing if you're just cutting part of your lettuce and you don't want it to oxidize. So it's really, you would hold it just the same way as you would a regular knife. You're gonna just grip it, choke up a little bit on the handle. My thumb is on this side and it's right there. But if you'll notice, I've got my finger curled back. I'm not putting my finger out here like this and putting it in harm's way. It's back a little bit. For most, you know, unless you're doing some paring or something like that, most of your cutting motion is going to be a good grip like this, the tip of your knife on the cutting board, and your lettuce or whatever you're cutting underneath, you're gonna curl your fingers back, and then this is going to be a guide, your knuckle, to come down on this piece of lettuce. So curl your fingers back a little bit so they're safe, follow your knuckle. I've got the tip of the knife and I'm gonna come down like a rocking motion. I don't know if you can hear that or not, but that's the same that you would do with a sharp knife as well. The nylon knives are a little tougher to use if you're trying to cut sweet potato or a carrot, something like that. But certainly, you know, if you're worried about a sharper knife, these can be very helpful and useful to you. Now I do have a regular sharp knife here. I'm going to grip it the same way with my thumb here. My finger is back. I'm choked up on it, but it's going to be the same motion where I have the tip of the knife on the cutting board and coming down with the rocking motion to cut. Now I'm not using this. What I want to do is lay the knife flat in front of my cutting board. If you put it back in the same place every time, you're not going to cut yourself on the blade of the knife. I'm not going to put it off to the side because I might knock it with my hand. I'm going to keep it up here and away. When I'm done using this, I'm not going to just put it in the sink to get washed. What I will do is I will put the knife behind the faucet at the kitchen sink and leave it there to clean it at the very end. So you want to be safe with what you're doing and have a system where you're training yourself to do the same thing every time for safety. Now I'm going to grab my plate. We're going to start building this salad. I'm going to, oh, where's my bigger bowl? There we go. We just moved a couple of things to accommodate our camera situation. So I want to show you also another method you can use for cutting your lettuce. Now I've heard that romaine has to be cut in squares because that's how you do it for a Caesar salad, but this is red leaf, so we can do whatever we want. And I have a pair of cooking scissors, and I'm just simply cutting some of the lettuce. You can do this with a lot of your herbs, other things. Very easy to cut with the scissors if you're more comfortable with that, or use the knife, whatever feels best to you. The other thing you can do as well is, let's take one of these lettuce leaves, and oh my gosh, what can we do? We can tear it. Easy enough. You can just tear it, and there you go. You've got your bits of lettuce that are bite-sized and ready to go. I'm going to throw that in the bowl for now. We can get some more going. We have some who can still see color. It is nice to get some of the knives that are a color. I think that, is this purple or blue? Purple. It's got a sheath already on it. So I don't know if you could hear that. There we go. And that way, if you're storing it in your drawer, it's safe. The color helps you to find it in your drawer. If you don't have a cutting block like we have, where the knives are stored in the block, you want to use a sheath. If you don't have a sheath for your knife, get 2 pieces of cardboard and some tape and make your own. You want to make sure that you're safe. This is a little different. This is a little paring knife. It's orange. It's ceramic. That might be something that's of use to you. The main thing is too, it's got a little sheath. So when you put it in the drawer, you're going to be safe, you know, and having it covered. Now, we are going to talk about a few different things, but I wanted to first talk a little bit about this egg slicer. This is not just an egg slicer. This is a tool for many things. One of the problems that you might have with vision loss is getting an equal slice or equal dice on different things. So it can make a difference in cooking time. It can make a difference in cooking time, but this gives a nice, easy slice for you. So let's say that we're going to have a little breakfast snack, and we are going to, I lost my little bowl. There it is. Okay. Here are some strawberries. They are beautiful. Now, they're a little lost for me in this green bowl. There's not much contrast. So what I want you to think about is, this is when you're eating as well. Contrast works in many different ways. Would it be helpful to have your strawberries in a white bowl? Am I tipping enough? To have a little bit of contrast. So what I would like to do, you could add some fresh fruit into your salad. Nothing wrong with the leafy green, a little bit of strawberry, some seeds, do a nice little dressing. But I have some yogurt here that I'm going to put into a bowl, which of course is going to kind of disappear, but this could be a good little breakfast. And here we have our strawberries. I'm going to take the sheath off of this little paring knife, and I'm going to use my fingers to feel this green part. And then I'm going to use against my knuckle. So I've got my fingers curled back, and I'm going to just cut off this green part, putting it over here in my trash bowl. And here is this lovely egg slicer that I'm going to bring down, and voila. I have evenly beautiful sliced strawberries. This works on mushrooms, fresh mozzarella, all kinds of things besides eggs. And then that way, if you're trying to create a beautiful little presentation and have a similar bite size for each thing, there you have it. I'm gonna follow my knuckle, add a little more in there. Boop. Trying to stay organized. There we go. So I hope you guys get the idea. This can be such a time saver, getting everything sliced up and in. And look at these strawberries, how pretty they are. Delish. All right. Now you could add some slivered almonds in there and really have a beautiful little snack or breakfast, depending on what you want. And we'll come back to the slicer later. I'm gonna make sure I've got my knives over here. Boom. Boom. Now, let's talk about peeling. There are so many choices. We have, oh, let's go back. Almost forgot about these little finger guards. I'm so used to tucking my fingers, I apologize. This is like a little metal shield. They also come in plastic. I'm gonna find that. Here we go. See, clear plastic. But you're gonna put your finger guard on your fingers, and whatever you're holding, like right here with the carrot, is gonna guard your fingers if you're not comfortable with tucking your fingers. Or the metal one, the stainless steel one, that just has one little finger slot. There we go, and it curves up a little bit, so keep your fingers from getting into the food. So those can be useful. Depends on what you're comfortable with. If you're not comfortable tucking, to go ahead and do that. We have a couple of different peelers here. We're gonna peel a carrot. I know carrot doesn't traditionally go in a Greek salad, but today it does. This is a Curious Chef peeler. The blade here wobbles left, so it could be a little safer for you to peel a carrot or apple or whatever you're doing. We have a traditional peeler, which it's got a little bit bigger grip on it. So if you've got a little bit of arthritis or things are harder to grip, this might be the one for you. And I've got it here somewhere. We've got a palm peeler. So this is going to fit into the palm of your hand. Oh, wait, oh. There we go. So it's going to go on your finger. The blades are on the inside, so you're going to peel. I know we're bringing the trash bowl in. Maybe. Here we are, back again. So I'm going to use the palm peeler that I can use my hand to peel straight down into my little trash bucket. So most of the ladies like this. For some of the men, this is a little too small for their hand. You'll have to check it out and see what you like best. But I want you to also notice that I am peeling away from myself. So I'm putting the blade away. Okay. Let me move this back just a little, and I'll do just a little demo with the other peeler just to finish it off. I lost my carrot there. Kind of like that palm peeler. This one I think might have seen better days with the blade itself. Okay, we got to replace a couple of things. So let's finish peeling this carrot. And I have a question. Sometimes, you know, you want to get some nice chunky carrots going, whether you're making a stew or you want chunks in your salad. But sometimes people are going with little strips, which you could, now that we've got this cleared away. I'm getting dry. I'm sorry. It's just, I need water. You can use the peel from this to add to your salad, which gives you a nice little bite-sized piece. And I'm going to sit this down, move our trash. We have a small kitchen, so this is real life here. My kitchen is small at home, so the reality is you got to keep organized and keep it all together. Thank you. So here again, if you want to use the knife guard, you can. And I'm going to cut off the tip of this carrot, and I've got the knife guard in front. And I'm going to take off the other end. If you noticed, I used the point of the knife and came down on it in a rocking motion. Now, let's say I do want to go ahead and make some chunks. I can do that. I've got my fingers tucked. I've got my tip of the knife down on the board and coming down in that rocking motion. So fairly consistent in size, maybe not perfect. This one feels a little bit big, but you know what? Such is life. The other thing that I've enjoyed using, and you can do some pickled carrot strips or other things, this is a peeler that's a julienne peeler. And now this works a little bit, unfortunately, coming a little bit toward me, but it is making these nice little julienne strips, and you can buy these pre-done at the grocery store. I will warn you that a lot of them are a little bit dry because they've been in the bag for a couple of minutes. And if you do it yourself, these are fun. You could do a quick pickle with these. We're gonna throw these in the salad. But if you can see, these little strips are delightful to go into the salad. So we can definitely throw those in and brighten up our salad a little with some fresh little strips of carrot. I'm gonna throw these in too, what the heck. Right?
Right.
Okay, now we need to do a little more work. Where is my feel around? Found it. We have a cucumber. It's been washed and you have a choice. I'm going to nip off the ends, tuck my fingers. Now, if you want to play with this a little bit, you can. Let's cut this in half and decide what we want to do. You could just watch your fingers, cut down the middle, and yet again, and do there again with tip of your knife on the board, fingers tucked back, do that rocking motion, and you can get some little, we've cut the cucumber piece into quarters, and now we've sliced it down so we have bite-sized little chunks. So we could do that. Now, if you want to get fancy and you're going to decorate your plate, let's get that julienne peeler back. Oop, there we go.
Excuse me?
Yes?
Do you sometimes not peel the cucumber?
Correct. And what I've done here is, if you could feel it, what I'm doing is I'm leaving part of the skin on, and I did that with the little chunks because I've washed it. You don't have to take it all off unless you want to. So you can make it a little decorative by peeling part of it and having little ridges there and putting a whole slice around the edge of your plate.
Thank you.
You do not have to peel that cucumber unless you want to. So if you want to, go ahead and peel it. And if you want to try to get a little funky with it, you can do that too. It's whatever you like. I kind of like at this point going with the quartered pieces and the smaller chunks because I don't have to cut it. I don't want to have to worry about that when I'm eating it. But you know, if you're serving some people that have some sight and you want to do some decorative slices, you can do that as well. So it's your choice. It's your salad. It's whatever you want it to be. Have some fun with it. And, you know, at this point, we're going to have to use whatever ingredients we can find and make it work. Now, the other question is the onion. Now, traditionally, I think you use a red onion, which is what I picked up, you know, for a Greek salad. And I went ahead and cut it in half just because for time restraints, I didn't know how much time we would have. But I left the little tail on the end of the onion, so it's still holding it together. So I've got half of the onion, and what you could do is if you wanted to cut horizontally and then slice down and then do your cuts, you could have little bite-sized pieces. I think that for a Greek salad, we can have some little bit bigger pieces of the red onion. But what if you're afraid to hold this onion? We have a scary device. You could carry it as protective equipment if you're worried going out alone. This is an onion holder, and I'm not sure if you can see it or not, but you grip, it's got a grip at the top. It's stainless steel, and it's got these prongs that come down that you're going to actually stick into the item, whether it's a carrot, an onion, and this is going to hold it in place. So you're not slicing through the prongs, you're just holding on to your vegetable. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. Did you hear that onion scream a little? And so now I'm going to slice down. Whoop. Okay, so we've got our slices. The onion is still impaled. I'm tucking my fingers. So for this salad, I'm just going to do, you know, some quartered pieces. And that way, if anyone doesn't like onion, they can sort it out. But I don't think you need to go all fine chop and fine dining. We can make this a little bit more rustic. And we're going to throw this in too. So if you want your onion not to move, try the onion holder. Guaranteed to hold it for as long as you want. It's not going anywhere. I'm going to lay this flat on the tray so I don't do that to myself. We will be chopping some more lettuce here in a minute to kind of puff out our salad a little bit. I wanted to show you, they did not have a single, some people call it garbanzo bean, some people call it a chickpea. They had none in the store, none. I mean, who stocks up on garbanzo beans? So I found a package that is spicy curry sauce with chickpeas in it. So I gave these a little rinse for the salad. I didn't want them to be too spicy, but I guess you can find these pouches at the store and they come with a curry sauce and the chickpeas, and you could do a little stir fry of some chicken and vegetables and throw this sauce on with some rice and you'd have a whole meal. Who knew? I've never seen something like that. So I'm going to throw these in, and there again, I had it in a little bowl, all my ingredients. And I think I mentioned earlier, not a single egg in the store, except for the hard-boiled ones. So we're going to give these a try, and I'm not going to add them in at this moment, but I am going to use this slicer again to show you how easy it is. And once we toss the salad, we can decoratively put these egg slices right around the panel. Probably should have used the cutting shears, but a little cut with the knife. Oh my goodness. Okay, now if you want to get into these eggs, you're going to have to, it's like national security here. Okay, there we go. Wow. I know these are sealed. They're safe. No human hands have touched these. Oh my gosh. Okay, maybe, maybe not. All right, so be prepared. Have your kitchen shears ready if you're going to get these packages of boiled eggs. Now, the other thing I want to mention, I used to live in Philadelphia when I was first out of college, and Reading Terminal had a farmer's market, and there was a little old man that worked there. He made the best egg sandwiches, so you could do the slicer and have a sliced egg, cheese, tomato, lettuce sandwich. I mean, that is like a full meal. They used to be like $5, and that would be lunch and dinner. They were so huge. But at any rate, we're going to slice this egg. Oops, almost lost it. Did not. And then we'll use this to just decoratively put around the plate. You know, it even if you can't see it, it's kind of fun to dress it up a little and make a little presentation. Now, what I have here is a little bit of feta, and that's going to be to your liking, how much or how little you want to put in. I don't buy the chunks of feta. I go ahead and get the crumbled. So that's a little bit easier to handle. About a handful, sprinkle that in. And they had rotisserie chickens on sale. So a little bolster of protein. Have some shredded chicken breasts from a rotisserie chicken. Easy breezy. I'm going to put a good solid handful in there. Whoop. And I am missing one thing, I believe. Oh, we'll save that to the very end. So we're going to do a little more chopping to get this in here. And I'm going to do that very quickly with the knife. I want to get the lettuce in there. So what other, you know, we've been eating a lot of our family egg salad while the eggs are still around, and getting as much fresh produce as we can. I know the news reports were saying it is really good to eat healthy right now. Make sure you're getting a lot of fruits and vegetables. And, you know, so this can give you a couple of options. You've got fresh strawberries here. We've got lots of nice green veggies, a little bit of carrot going on, some cucumber. So that is something that, you know, go for it. Let's stay healthy. Let's eat well. And just because you can't see what you're doing doesn't mean you can't chop it and throw it in and eat well. Okay, now we're going to present this on a plate. But to do the dressing, we are going to use a Greek dressing, shockingly. Now, this one has a little squirt top. So I'm pretty good with that. If you have a salad dressing that has just the open lid and not like this little squirt top on it, you might want to put the salad dressing into a small container and then drizzle it, because otherwise you might end up over dressing your salad, and you don't want that because it is just soggy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to squirt a little bit of the dressing around the edge of the bowl with the salad. So then that way I'm not drowning it in the center. And then I've got a pair of tongs that are black and right here. And I am just going to give it a toss and kind of try to get a feel if it is dressed enough or needs a little more. Food for thought is you can always add more. Can't take it out. Well, you could if you like washed it and started over. Boom, boom. I don't know. How does that look to you, Terry?
Looks delicious.
We'll do one more little squirt. Whoop. And then we've got a couple more things that we're going to do. And Terry, could I ask your help? I think I forgot to pull the beets out as an ingredient. I think I was keeping them cool. So I'm going to bring the plate a little bit closer. Yes. Okay. So I don't know if you all can see this. I think we're going to have a full plate. Tell me if I'm overloading, Terry. That's probably good. Okay. What I would like to do is I forgot to pull out my pickled beets. So they're going on now. Not everyone is a fan, but I think they taste great. They add this beautiful color, if you can see, to the plate. And it adds this little bit of vinegary brininess to it that I think really helps the salad along. Now, let's go ahead and I think we need a little more carrot on there. What do you think? I'm not seeing a pop of color. You know, you could always add some red bell pepper and some other things, whatever you have on hand. Okay, and here are our beautiful hard-boiled eggs that Whole Foods kindly boiled for me, and I didn't do. But if you are boiling eggs, the technique I find easiest is put the eggs in a pot of water, make sure they're covered with water. I bring it up to the boil, and almost as soon as it comes to a boil, what I'll do is turn the heat off as soon as the bubbles start up, put the lid on, set the timer, leave it sit for 20 minutes. And then at 20 minutes, just use some warm water and run it under some warm water, start cracking your eggs and peeling. I always peel them ahead. The shells come off fast and easy, and then you can have a baggie of hard-boiled eggs. So I have made a total mess here. I apologize. We usually would go to the next room and sit down and eat. So bon appetit. Let's see if we can put this with a little bit here. If you can see the color, we're putting it on a cutting mat that is a contrast, which could be a help when you're at home. If you have a placemat or something, or even the orange tray that will give you a landing spot and a little bit of contrast to find your food. Now, facing you, I would let you know that around the edge at 3 o'clock are your eggs. Over on your left side, so that would be 9 o'clock, are going to be your pickled beets and the salad in here. So if that could be a help to you, you can start using your clock face if you need someone to tell you where food is. Certainly you can use your fork to touch things, and you can tell by the density and the give of it kind of what you have. And then for dessert, we've got some strawberry yogurt with some beautiful strawberries right on top. Or if you wanted to, you could throw extra strawberries in the salad. And that is, I think, about time. I don't know what time it is.
It is time.
It is time? Oof. Did I talk too fast? I feel like I did. So understand, this is just the basics. I wanted to do something where you could feel comfortable with peeling, cutting, chopping. We are certainly going to be back for some more videos, and we can do some stovetop cooking and things of that nature. And, you know, just be flexible with what's at the grocery. And here we are, a fresh, beautiful salad. We've got a little bit of egg and chicken in there for protein, some veggies, a little bit of yogurt and fresh strawberries. You know, so we can eat well, even if we don't see all of it. Bon appetit. And any questions, jump in there. I don't know how everybody gets unmuted.
So just, this is Maddie again. I'm jumping in. If people have questions, if you could press the *9 button, that will tell me, if you're on the phone, *9, that you want to speak or ask a question. It gets kind of crazy if I unmute everybody. So if you have any comments or tips that you use for chopping or mixing ingredients, this is a good time to share them. I know that we are at the 2 o'clock mark. I'm not going to cut it off because we had that technical difficulty. So
if anyone has tips or tricks, share. I'm happy to learn.
Well, I have a question since no one's jumping in.
Okay.
You mentioned something earlier about chopping with nylon knives, and you said it doesn't oxidize the lettuce. What does that mean?
Well, what that means is, for example, if you get a head of romaine lettuce and you cut off the end of it, if you're using a steel knife, that oxidizes the end of the lettuce. So that's why your lettuce is going to turn brown faster. Or let's say you cut a head of iceberg in half. If you're using a metal knife, that oxidizes the edge of the lettuce and it will turn brown faster. So anytime if you use a ceramic knife or a nylon knife or even just tear it, you won't have that oxidation and your lettuce will last longer in the fridge. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. I've never understood that. I know like a few years ago, everyone was talking about oxidizing lettuce. So
Kind of gets a reddishness first, and then it turns brown.
Well,
If you ever see salad on a salad bar, sometimes it might have a little red ends on edges of it or something.
And they should go to nylon or ceramic knives. Yep. And I have to say, this palm peeler is super easy. The only person that we've heard, doesn't like it are people with, men with large hands. It just doesn't fit comfortably, but these are some devices that are super easy to handle. Peanut Gallery, chime in.
This is Gloria. I also use a chopper. It's called a Chop-O-Matic, I guess, but it chops.
Here we go.
Similar.
Running low on time, and this device has a cylinder shape at the bottom and a handle that, like a rod that comes up with a top part that you can push down. And when you push, it pushes a rotating blade on the bottom. And if you put something down underneath this, it's going to be noisy for a second, but I'm going to take a carrot and I was just slapping it down, and I have finely diced carrots. Oops, and I have one at home. I use this if you're making like chicken lettuce wraps and you need finely diced stuff. Oh, this is like, how long did that take? Like 2 seconds? Mm-hmm. Thank you, Gloria.
I use it to chop onions sometimes.
Well, mine is a little different than that. Mine slices as well as chops. It does like slices, like if you're going to put them on a pizza or put them in a salad somewhat, that does the slices, and it also juliennes them. And
wow.
As a little funnel on top, you put your vegetable, and then you have another gadget that you push down with it, and then it chops it, and Julianne, you have to change the
Does
blade.
Like a mandolin?
does it
It's
push?
something, yeah, similar to that. It's very similar to that. So a friend of mine bought it for me, knowing I had vision issues, and she bought that for me, and it's really nice. And scallop potatoes is one of my favorites to make, and it slices the potatoes so nicely.
Okay, and where would you get something like that?
I don't know where she got it, but I'm assuming because of what it looks like, maybe at Bed Bath, not
Yeah.
Bed Bath, Bed Bath and Beyond. Yeah, probably there. At
Okay.
your seen on TV, probably
Okay.
something like that.
Well, then the other thing, since we have a couple extra minutes here, I have an apple. It has been washed, and we have an apple slicer core that I would recommend if you're going to use this and you just want some apple slices to have along with a sandwich or whatever, or if you want to slice it down and then cut smaller pieces. I find for me, sitting down to try to do this I need my body weight into it, and just get it lined up with the core. You can find the core with your finger. There's a circle in the center of this slicer, and I'm just pressing down. Hi-ya! All right. And then we have apple slices. So there we are, so healthy. We're having strawberries and apple slices. So that one's an easy breezy one too. Bed Bath & Beyond, Target, all those usual suspects.
I feel like this brings up a good point about kitchen items, in that you can go to Bed Bath & Beyond and find items that might work for you. Everybody's vision is different. Everybody's abilities and cooking knowledge is different. So this is kind of a fun place to play around and get creative and, try new stuff. And like Gloria said, sometimes well-meaning friends and family will buy you something that they think might work for you. And it sounds like it worked out for you, Gloria. Might not work out with every item, but everybody's different.
Yeah.
Well,
Definitely.
absolutely. But it's worth a try. And, I think that sometimes going into these places, if you have limited vision, go with a friend that has some patience, or go by yourself and take your time. And you can take things off of the shelf and feel them. And you can certainly get some help and ask questions as you're going along. I have found it because Amazon has quite a few items, and it works with screen readers and voiceover. The descriptions they give of things are very helpful. So you can do a search in there and it'll come up with a number of different products, and you can kind of learn about new things that way. But don't be afraid to, if there's a display there, to take down a piece and feel it and see what things are. Because you don't have that vision to know what's there. And, you can figure out, wow, I could really use this. So let me give it a try. And not everything, like you say, is going to work. But that's okay. That's what garage sales is for.
I have another question for you. So
Okay.
when you are working with clients, sometimes I find that they want a different tool for everything that they're trying to cook or trying to slice or trying to do something with. And I found that there are better tools that do multiple tasks. What's your opinion on all that?
I think that too much clutter gets in the way of your success. And that if you can have something like the egg slicer that slices your mushrooms and strawberries and so many different things, that's one tool for multiple purposes. I do think some things like the julienne peeler, it's pretty, it's a one task tool, but it's very small. If you see the size of this, I do put it in a baggie because the teeth are sharp. So I want to make sure I don't snag my finger. I do think that you're right. Too much is too much. Find something that works for you and leave it at that. You can always wash it and use it again.
Does anybody have any other questions? You have a lot of instructors on the line here to answer anything you might have trouble with. You have Melissa and Kathy and Terry there on site, but you have several here over the interwebs. So I mean, I got questions for days, so I'm happy to keep talking here.
Well, and I would say just with salads, make it fun and creative, and you'll tend to eat more if you're putting some fun ingredients in there, whether it's some fresh mozzarella and tomato and balsamic dressing, and you know, just get crazy and eat healthy. That's it.
Well, great. If there's no more questions, I think Melissa and I don't know, Kathy, if you have information, but if you want to share a little bit about what maybe the next step or the next training to tune into if you're interested in cooking.
Well, some of the things that we've been doing, I think we're not going to be making a quiche because it's difficult to find the eggs. So I think that we will do some type of a saute on the stovetop.
Stir fries are easy.
And we can do a smaller amount. I've got some great stir fry recipes. I'm not sure if everyone has access to some of the ingredients, so we could do a modified thing with that. If people would rather, you know, maybe we can come up with a pantry recipe with some pasta. So, you know, as some of the fresher things are disappearing, I think it's really easy to make a pasta, chicken, and a pesto sauce, and, you know, some pine nuts and Parmesan. That's a nice, easy fix, easy to reheat too. So if anyone has some things they would like to work on, please let us know, and we'll definitely present it. I know in the past, we've also done a chicken sausage, kale, sweet potato soup with some corn, and everyone has loved it. It's easy to freeze, so if you're wanting to do a one-pot cook with a delicious meal and then be able to freeze it and reheat it, you know, that is something, and especially right now, if you have a little bit of time, get that into the freezer and you've got backup. So if something like that would be more of interest, we're happy to do whatever you would like to see, and whatever techniques that would be most beneficial to you. So let us know what you're looking for and we will accommodate. And it doesn't have to be just one more class. We can do 2 or 3 more. You know, it's, you know, cooking live at the Lighthouse.
I love it. I think we're trying to, you know, keep things interesting. We don't know what's in store for us in Florida here. Right now we are still in the office, but, you know, we can still do cool streaming stuff from our own kitchens.
There we go.
Well, thank you for sharing all of that information and all those tools with us. We're trying to keep things accessible through the phone too. So let us know how you felt about it. Let us know how easy it was. You know, did you learn something new? I'd love to hear afterwards what you all thought. Again, tomorrow we do have conversations on mobility, including transportation, white cane, and human guide. Friday is our stress management and coping skills, and then and chair yoga. And immediately following that event, we're doing a support group open to our clients. So stay tuned. I think we figured out we had some technical difficulties today, but we'll move forward from that and learn from it. So thank you for being here. And thank you for your time, Melissa, Kathy, and Terry in there.
Happy to be here.
Glad to be here.
Good job, ladies.
Everyone who tuned in.
That was fun. All right. Well, we'll see you next time.
All right.
Come down and have a nibble, Maddie.
I'll have to. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody. Bye-bye.